we are going to talk about basically what is in many respects a brand new series. Because
Stargate
Command.
Yeah.
In many respects, Stargate SG-1 ended with season 8. Darren and I had always talked about, how do you think it's going to end? And I always said, to be perfectly honest, I think it's going to end with them fishing. I just have that feeling. And in many respects, that's exactly what happened. And then, Rick, it was like, you know what? I've given you guys 8 years of my life. I think, I want to focus on raising my kid. There are other things that I want to do. His philanthropic work, was taking up more and more of his time, and, absolutely well-deserved. And then you guys decided to take it in a different direction, potentially even renaming the series. Tell us a little bit about coming into the office, or at the very least, finishing out season 8, going into season 9. It was not guaranteed again, right?
No, but I mean, near the end of season 8 is when, again, we heard that we'd gotten another pickup. And at that point, as I say, every season we approached the finale as though it would be a series finale, only to, either in time or sometimes not in time, discover that we were getting picked up. So, Robert and Brad decided this would be the end of SG-1, just because, as you mentioned, Rick was looking to spend time with his daughter. And so he would kind of been phasing out the character over time, but this was going to be it. And so Rob had the opportunity to tie up all those loose ends. And we completed the SG-1 story. And as you said, appropriately enough, it ends with them fishing. And then, I think as far back as a season earlier, Brad and Robert had been talking about the spinoff, which they named Stargate Command. And really what would it look like? And there were no real plans or ideas cemented. But the decision obviously was made to continue SG-1. It was a Brad and Rob decision, but also I think it was a decision made by the studio and the networks who felt like, they wanted a continuation of the SG-1 brand. So Rob had the inspiration to introduce this new enemy called the Ori. And, since we had lost Rick, we were looking to have someone kind of step in to that role, more or less. And, around that time, I think, or maybe a season earlier, Farscape had been canceled. And I remember I pitching Brad, Ben Browder, and I actually pitched Ben for the role of John Shepard on Stargate Atlantis. But Ben was shooting Peacekeeper War at the time.
Wouldn't that have been interesting if he had been Shepard?
Yeah. And so, we were kind of looking to sort of decide what the next step would be. And I suggested, why don't you reach out to Sci-Fi and suggest Ben Browder? Because I know they love Ben. And so they did. And Sci-Fi loved the idea. And we made Ben the offer. And I remember he ended up watching all 7 seasons of SG-1, sort of like cram school, like they do in Japan. Came very well versed in Stargate lore. We had introduced the Vala character in I believe it was season 7.
Season 8. It was Prometheus Unbound.
Sorry, season 8. Yeah, season 8. Sorry, and we love the character. She was very atypical of the type of characters we usually wrote for. So it's always kind of fun to write the kind of the rogue element. And we pitched to Sci-Fi that we would make both Ben and Claudia's characters series regulars. And Sci-Fi was like, no, we can't have both Ben and Claudia be series regulars. That would be too much like Farscape. And I pointed out, particularly in Claudia's case, her character was nothing like her Farscape character. But the network balked, and so we ended up signing her on to, I'm not sure what it was, like maybe a 4-episode deal. And so we produced those episodes, and we delivered the first cuts to Sci-Fi, and they were like, "Wow, we love this character. Let's make her a season regular." And I said, well, at that point, the ship had already sailed because we'd already planned the rest of the season. So, if they wanted her to be a series regular, then just pick us up for a 10th season, and she would become a series regular. Spoiler alert, it all worked out. But the season 9 was very much a shift in dynamics, sort of creatively, also just kind of, I guess, in a way, sort of production-wise. Was this the season that Atlantis started?
Season 8 and season 1. So the last year that Rick was on as a general, that was the season that Atlantis started with.
Yeah.
So Atlantis was in season 2 when SG-1 was in season 9, and so SG-1 kind of became the infant again with new cast and new direction and everything else. I remember coming in there, everyone was really excited about SG-1, and not that they weren't excited about Atlantis, but SG-1 had enough new elements in it that everyone was like, check out what we're doing now. You guys built a ton of new sets that year. The Village. And what a massive endeavor that was. I remember Brad saying, in the script, SG-1 comes to a village again. It's like, a village. What are we going to do? And so you guys built a standing set.
Yeah. And we, as I like to say, shot the hell out of it. I mean, we redressed it. It was like the abandoned village in Whispers. It was one of the sort of off-world villages in Arc of Truth. It appeared in Crusade, just in Morpheus, just like a bunch of episodes. And we would always obviously look to sort of like mix it up and give it all a different looks, because I remember we would be off looking for locations to shoot in, and that was always tough. It was always tough. And I remember there was one place, it was actually a Western town, and I kind of loved the look, even though it wasn't like really quite kind of the middle age aesthetic we were looking for at the time. It was an entire Western set, and we looked at it, but ultimately they came back and they were like, no one has shot in a couple of years. Those sets are ready to collapse at any moment. So
that's a factor too.
So we ended up building a standing village set, and Ivan Bartok, our then special features producer, I remember he did a special feature called "It Takes a Village," I think, or something to that effect.
Right.
And there was like time-lapse photography of that village going up, and it's pretty amazing. When I look back on it. I remember actually once executive producer Carl Binder and I took a video tour of the village. It was a lot of fun.
I was just as impressed with the cave set that you guys built at the same time. It first appears as the Glastonbury caves in Avalon, and later in Morpheus and a bunch of others. But I mean, that was such a cool design as well. It reminded me so much of Planet Hell down at Paramount for all the Star Trek shows, but you guys definitely made your own feel about it as well. There was just a lot of money that was poured into that season. One of the things that Christopher Judge said is that I think MGM had provided some cash as well to allow a lot of these things to be done. Is that correct?
Yeah, we probably received some sort of breakage, although off the top of my head, I don't recall. That's maybe a question for Brad. I guess I would be kind of surprised if that was the case. Because I know it was a big set, and it was a kind of big, expensive set. But then again, I mean, like I said, we shot the hell out of it. And what I mean by that is, we made effective use of that standing set. And that's something that Brad and Robert always did is ensure that the money we had always ended up on screen. And the way they did that was to, do something like this, like, build a set that we would use more than once, for instance, and kind of repurpose and just get our money's worth.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.